What if Deku had a Yandere? There is no way. Will this happen to the lovely character? This story, well, you have to find out for yourself. I had just finished packing my stuff from my room for the move into the UA dorms. After the final fight between All Might and One for All, Principal Nezu had deemed it necessary to have dorms built, like Shiksu High School. As I double-checked my bags and boxes, I heard the door to the apartment open and close. I checked the time on my phone, frowning in confusion. My mom had just left about 5 minutes ago, and she was going to work her part-time nursing shift at the hospital. An uncomfortable gut feeling hit me, making me slightly nauseous. I ignored it in favor of slowly waking out of my room, readying One for All to fight any intruder. I was in my household, and using a quirk was perfectly legal for self-defense in here, per Section 18 Part D of Japan's Quirk Regulation Act of 2178. I made it safely to the living room to find someone sitting on my family's couch without a care in the world, kicking their legs like a child on a swing. The intruder was an ash-blonde-haired girl with two messy buns on each side of her head. She had numerous wild strands sticking out at all angles from their centers, and where they're fastened, a straight fringe and two chin-length side bangs to frame her face. It was deplorably messy and strangely innocent at the same time. She was about 5 feet 2 inches tall and had petite figure, her short skirt showing off her toned legs, meaning she was probably really fast or kick really hard, or both. The knee-black socks did nothing to hide those muscles. She had yellow cat eyes that tilted inwards. Her fair skin and the combination of her school uniform made her pretty disarming. The ignorant wouldn't think she was dangerous, but I knew better. I recognized her from the League of Villains. "Why are you here?" She giggled, gaining a heavy blush all of a sudden. "I came to see what Mr. Staney considered to be a true hero, a Stain follower. My day was getting bad pretty quickly. Can I have at least a week of peace? You know, this my first time I got the chance to be so close to you," she said as she stood up. "Normally, I have to watch you from across the street while hidden in a crowd." What? I got into a defensive position. One for All crackled to life in the form of wisps of electricity around my body. "What do you mean?" She held up her hands in a disarming manner. "I've been following you around Hasu. When Mr. Staney declared you a real hero, I had to know more about you, Deku-kun." My heart beat faster when she used her nickname for me. "Don't call me that." She giggled again. This was not funny. "I guess that Uraraka girl can only call you that. I'll just call you Izu-kun." My heartbeat sped up again. Darn my anxiety that only got worse around girls. "I still don't want you call me that." The intruder put her hands on hip and pouted. "I'm not going to call the father of my children by his family name. That's so weird." I found myself stumbling somehow, even though I was perfectly still. I heard her laugh at me. She must have been joking and trying to throw me off my game. "Don't say stuff like that, Toga. I mean, you villain." I raised one eyebrow in confusion. "Yes, you're Himiko Toga, associate of the League of Villains. You have 10 reports of assault, 1 attempted homicide, and have been linked to another murder." "What else?" she asked excitedly, hopping up and down. "What the—" "You are the missing eldest daughter of the Toga family, and have been reported missing for 2 years now," I answered uneasily as she smashed her cheeks together. "My Izu-kun is interested in me as much I am into him." She let out a squeal. Why was she excited about me having stalker-level knowledge on her? Oh yeah, I was talking to a stalker, possible killer. I remember when I watched the recording of you versus Iceman. All the blood you spilled and bruises you gained was so great. I think I need to capture her. She was out of her mind. And when I saw your broken arms when you were leaving the mountains, I got so hot. She started to fan herself. Was she getting aroused? And then we figured you saved a kid from Muslim. I knew you were a true hero. Not that I ever doubted Mr. Staney, she yelled in another fit of excitement. I finally found someone worthy of my eternal love, not the fleeting stuff I get with other people. She then ran up to me at speeds comparable to Ida at his lower settings. I was barely able to grab her hands that were heading toward my face. Oh, Izu-kan, I can't wait to have a lot of babies. I want 3 children minimum. Her saying babies brought Scatterbrain Meihatsum to mind. Stop, brain. We've got to focus on this crazily infatuated girl in front of us. Who said anything getting married? I did, I groaned. You know you're interested, Izu-kan. I'm not interested. Her smile got wider as she interlaced her fingers with mine. What? Then why did you look up all that stuff on me then? She asked, this strangely smile that was trying to force me to relax. Knowing is half the battle, we both quoted. I felt my eyes widen in surprise while I watched hers widen in further excitement. Jinx, you owe me a kiss. Before I could protest, her head shot forward, crashing our lips together like a terrible car crash. It was messy and luckily only lasted for a second. Toga let out another squeal afterwards. You stole my first kiss, I shouted, slightly upset. I was saving that for someone. Who? I don't know. My grip slightly tightened. It was my first kiss also, she responded. We're already sharing so many special moments together. I finally let go, trying to force my blush down. You need to leave. One more thing. You're not getting anything else out of me. But we got to plan our first date, she protested. Why would I go on a date with you? I asked sarcastically. Because if you don't, I'll have to find a replacement, she said, grinning. The carefree demeanor she held turned into something wicked, villainous even. But those never last long. It would be so sad for some family. The room was silent, the temperature seemingly dropping. I'm so stupid. Why didn't I attack her on sight? 'Cause she was pretty faced with a calming smile. That's probably what she did to her other victims. If I go on this date, you won't hurt anybody else. I promise not to hurt any innocent people. That's not what I asked for. I said anybody, Toga, I told her. Can't promise that. Bad Touch Man might order me to kill some competing rival villains. There is going to be a power vacuum soon, and I can't really refuse him that. Toga let out, before giving me a sly smile. Oops, I didn't mean to say that. Guess I got too comfortable. I stood frozen in place. I had to accept her terms. It would be unheroic of me to let someone get hurt because of my own selfishness. And there was that last tidbit. I felt the need to moisten my suddenly dry lips. I saw Toga's eyes follow my tongue's movement. How are we going to set this up? The carefree aura returned as she smiled sweetly. Give me your number. I'll text later tonight or tomorrow afternoon. I recited the number I had for about 3 years. I got it, Izu-kan. Just one more thing. I caught the movement, barely moving my head in time. Her lips landed on my cheek this time. She had a slightly disappointed face, but she quickly covered it up. Enjoy the rest of your day, my Izu-kan. The possessive tone sent a shudder through my body. She gave a quick wave of her hand before running out the door. I followed her, but when I got outside, she was gone. It wasn't even dark yet. Oh, Izuku, you freaking Deku, how do you get yourself into these type of situations? I asked myself as I went back inside. I plopped down on the couch as I just went over what happened. I had someone stalking me for the last few months without me knowing, and that person was a villain. She knows where I live, could easily get into my parents' apartments. What else did she know? Did she know where my mom worked? Probably. And she definitely knows where Kachin lives. He's only one floor underneath me. This was not good. I had to go on this date with her now because not just of the civilians who would be danger, but the people I had known forever are in danger too. I couldn't think about this any longer. I was going to stress myself out. There was no way around this. I just had to deal with a possible typical Yandere girl stalking me and forcing me on dates until I found a way out of this. I had to get her to let her guard down, then maybe I can get help to capture. Until then, maybe I could get some information about the leak from her. She did let that last bit slip on purpose. Didn't I just say I needed to stop focusing on this? I opened my phone to message someone from school. The list was abysmal. I had only 4 people from class. I decided to text the most familiar one. Have you finished packing yet? KB, fuck you. I'll take that as yes then. KB, I don't have a fucking hoard of collectibles like your bitch ass. KB, I told you to stop texting me. There goes my friendly socialization for the afternoon. I wished I knew why he was still like this. I thought our time at UA would have bridged the gap somewhat. I walked inside our new hideout to see Bad Touch Man glaring at me as soon as I entered. Where have you been? I see you're still in a prissy mood, I said as I walked by. His hand reached and grabbed my arm with 4 fingers. Answer the question, Toga. I was on the prowl, looking for the next person to take out on a date, I answered, smiling at the memories of my Izu-kun. You know, the usual. He let go. Don't do something stupid and get caught. We don't have the time to bust you out because you can't control your hormones. I glared back at him. Hey, mister, I still have my innocence. I heard him laugh. Yeah, right. I ignored him and went to my room. I wasn't going to let him bring me down. He can be in his funk alone or with Dabai. They were both edgelords and sort of had hater boners for each other. A match made in hell. I jumped into my bed and opened my phone. I stared at Izukun's number before letting out a fit of giggles. He was naive, but so cute. To get him to go out with me was simple. Step 1, threaten random people. Step 2, promise not to hurt them. Step 3, get number. Step 4, profit. Making it seem like I was going to have loose lips was just icing on the cake for him. What's got you in a good mood? My roommate asked. This hideout wasn't as big as the bar, so everyone had to share a room. Luckily, there was another female in the group. I'm going a date soon, big sis, I told her. Magni gave me a megawatt smile. Good for you. Someone as young and pretty as you doesn't need to be cooped up all day with these buffoons that call themselves men. I blushed from her compliment. You're right, big sis. I'm going to text soon and set up a day. Just make sure you chose somewhere not near Camino. The pigs have tripled themselves there, she told me before leaving the room. I gave her a thanks as I pondered where to go for my first date with my Izu-kun. I was lying on my bed in the dark. Today had a bit emotional with Asui's breakdown about her guilt over not helping us saving Kachin, but luckily Ashido and Toru had a plan to brighten things up. It was a contest to see who had the best room. Almost everyone played, Kachin didn't. He hated social activities anyway. Mainta didn't get a chance to play because no one wanted to go to his room. I feel bad for saying this, but Mainta was creepy. I'm sure some people think I'm creepy because of my mumbling, and my room was right beside his. Hopefully, he kept his nightly activities noise level to a minimum. I really didn't want to Aizawa-sensei involved, but I had a strict sleeping schedule, one I couldn't skimp on since All Might made it, and he lived on UA premises. My cell phone beeped. I wondered who would text me so late. Barely anyone in the has my number. Kachin had it, and he only begrudgingly texted me on my birthday. I knew Ida and Yaoyorozu had it because they were on the student council, and Todoroki had because I gave it to him before Hasu because of how Ida was acting. That little action saved Ida's and my life. I checked to see it was an unknown number. I opened up the message to read it. "Hey babe." "Who this?" I sent back. I got a sad face emoji before the unknown number started to call me. "Babe." A clearly feminine voice whined when I picked up. "Did you already forget about me?" Oh, oh, Toga." Giggles followed. "Yep, that's me. How you doing, babe?" My brain froze. I was talking to a girl on the phone, a female other than my mom or Auntie Mitsuki. I need to calm down before I drop my phone. Breathe in, breathe out. "Izu-kun, are you okay?" I heard her ask. That snapped me out of my mini panic attack. "Hey Toga, can I have this number saved on my phone?" I asked. "I won't use your real name." "That's cool," she answered. "Not like this phone can be traced anyway." I almost dropped my phone again. I wasn't even thinking of doing that. But it wouldn't have been a bad idea if it could be traced. Maybe she lied. Plus, I would know if someone tried. Message received. I wasn't about to take the chance. Simple tactics wasn't going to work on her. She dodged the authorities for 2 years somehow. I cleared my throat. "Since you asked earlier, I just finished moving into my room." "How are they?" she asked. "They're actually really nice. Something I should expect of UA. Makes me feel a little spoiled from my humble household." "Keep the answers vague. I can't give her clear details, or she could use that against me. My precious Izu-kun deserves to be spoiled. I love you, baby." I gulped as trying to swallow the sudden fear in me. How was I supposed to respond to that? I needed an expert because the wrong thing might send her into a fit, and that would be bad. The problem was that no one I knew around my age dated. Kachin had no experience, nor would he be willing to help me unless I gave him my limited edition All Might knockout gloves. No way that was going to happen. I knew Ida nor Todoroki had ever been on a date, and none of the guys had been on one either, especially Minta. "Thank you." I heard sudden shouting in the background. "Babe, let me call you right back." I prayed that worked when she hung up. I probably needed to get a female's advice. But who to ask? Uraraka? No, she gets all weird when Hatsum comes around, and she was even worse with Melissa during Island. Toru and Ishido were out of the question because they are gossip queens. I can understand Ishido because she's pink and super cute, getting a bunch of attention. But Toru was invisible. Maybe she used her quirk to get information and secrets to gain more popularity. I guess that was good training for stealth, a skill her quirk was tailor-made for. Yaoyorozu might not be shy and eternally anxious like me, but I was sure she would be just as clueless in this situation as me. Call it a gut feeling. Something about Asui being Yororaka's best friend made me hesitant to ask her. Hatsum definitely knew nothing about relationships or anything social. The only reasonable choice seemed to be Gyro, but I didn't know her that well. But desperate times called for desperate measures. My phone rang once again. I saw it was Toga again. I picked up. "Sorry, babe. I was busy dodging bad touch man hissy fit attacks when I checked on that noise." I chuckled. I guess being not in her vicinity allowed me be relaxed enough. plus the image of the blue-haired villain throwing a tantrum like Kachin used to when we were like 4 got a few more chuckles out of me. "Why is he so mad?" I asked. "Dabai burnt his video game console. He was using the thing for target practice," she answered. Dabai was the guy with the blue fire. He had a small criminal compared to the other league members, but still bigger than Toga's. "Why would he do that?" I asked. "Isn't Shigaraki the boss?" Oh no, I sounded like I was fishing for information. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask that. It just sort of came out." I heard her laugh, which did not make me feel better. "I know, babe, but that's a safe question." I let out a breath of relief. I heard another fit of giggles. Did she hear that? "When are you free again?" she asked me. "The weekends," was my answer. "I normally can't leave campus during the week." That was a lie. We could leave during the week, but we couldn't go for or be out for more than 2 hours at a time. Not that she needed to know that. "Cool. I've got a place for us to go on Saturday. I'll send you the address and time tomorrow," she said, "and no shop talk." There goes that plan. "Okay." "Good night, babe," she said. "Good night, Toga," I replied. I was not going to add any type of affection to her name. I heard her hung up. I groaned. I was such an idiot. Next day, I was at the end of my classes for today. Everyone was getting ready, packing up their stuff to leave. I had already packed because I was in a rush. I had to get to Gyro before her friends formed a protective barrier around her. I ran over to her, maybe pushing Kaminari out of the way. "Gyro-san, I need your help." She was wide-eyed after I said that, probably because I ran over to her and blocked the way out of her seat. "What for?" "Tease something I can only discuss in private," I answered, pulling a piece of paper out of my pocket. "Can you meet me here at 630 tonight?" She took the paper out of my hand before crumbling it. Sure, dude." I bowed. "Thank you so much." The hairs on the back of my neck rose as I felt the stares of everyone. I promptly ran out of the class as my anxiety rose. As I got in the hallways, I heard the one voice I didn't want to hear. "Deku-kun." I stopped to see her running to catch up. "I've forgotten how fast you are even without your quirk." When she got within arm's reach, she had that strange closed-eye expression on her face. "What's going on between you and Gyro?" That threatened feeling came back. "I just need some advice. That's all, I swear." She just kept on just standing there, menacingly. "Advice on what?" I gulped. "Some stuff." "What stuff?" I started to sweat nervously. "Some private stuff that I can't just ask anybody about." "Why didn't you ask me?" "Is this an interrogation?" I just can't. My fight or flight instincts activated when she took a step forward. I stepped backward. Flight it was. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ida and Todoroki heading my way. Thank the gods, someone to save me. "Hey there, Ida. Hey, Todoroki." "No yelling in the halls," Ida shouted as he speed walked to us, while Todoroki walked at a cool pace. When Uraraka head snapped back to look at them, I split with the aid of One for All. Misuse of the quirk? Maybe. Do I feel safer? Yes. Uraraka was acting extra weird today. And scary. I was headed to the once place she despised. The only place that was truly safe. A few minutes later, I stood in front of the doors of the support course workshop. I slowly opened the door in case of an impending explosion. For once, nothing flew towards me. Maybe it had to do with Hatsune being scolded by Power Loader. "Midoriya, save me!" she yelled when she noticed me. I need an assistant, or this meanie won't let me make more babies. I'll help. Uraraka has a tendency for every malfunction to hit her somehow. It's like Hatsume's babies hate my first UA friend, or Hatsume programmed her babies to do that. But that's just crazy thinking Uraraka was just really unlucky in the workshop. I get a face full of boobs almost every time, and she gets electrocuted. Both were mini heart attacks in their own rights. Power loader sighed. Hatsume, you are lucky. I know he can control you somehow. The workshop closes in 2 hours. I didn't get a chance to respond as Hatsume pulled me to her corner of clutter. It was filled with numerous gadgets, some failures or work in progress. Midoriya, I got this great idea for a hover jetpack that uses my hover shoes as a base design. Shouldn't be too hard, I said when we got to a stop. Don't you just need to adjust the level of power consumption so it can lift itself and user? She nodded. Yes, I forgot you are kind of support course material. If you weren't so focused on silly heroics and those nice muscles of yours, you could be in here. My brain malfunctioned, but somehow still listened to next set of words. I also need to get another inspection, should only take a minute or two. I felt her calloused hands slip under my shirt, rubbing up and down my abs. It felt good, but the inappropriate type of good. They've gotten about 15% more defined since last time I measured them. Got make some adjustments to your next batch of hero uniforms. My brain finally decided to start working when her hands left my body. Next batch? With your track record of messing up your hero uniform L, someone had to keep recreating it, she explained. At first, it was some second-year student who got in trouble for stealing a classmate's blueprint. I took over the mantle after that silly festival. Yeah, that. But why? I asked. You caught a lot of attention, whether it be bad or good. Any publicity is good publicity, or something like that, she answered for me. So from then on, I did all the repairs and alterations. I even slapped my logo on it. I don't ever remember seeing it. Where is it? She grabbed my right butt cheek, squeezing it hard. I jumped in surprise. Right here. Your buttocks are pretty firm. I smacked her hand away when she squeezed again. Hatsume, you can't do that. I never agreed to that. Hatsume pulled out a pile of paper from the junk corner and threw it at me. Page 5, line 12. I, Izuku Midoriya, hereby grant Mei Hatsume to put her logo and designs on all my equipment as a form of payment for all costume designs, modifications, and repair. I didn't read all of this, she shrugged indifferently. Stop crying over spilled milk and help me finish this, she ordered. Maybe we can have some free time for me get the curvature of your rear so I can make your costume more fitted. As long as you don't touch it again, I said, accepting my fate. There will be a lot of butt touching. One dorms. I was on the rooftop, anxiously checking the time on my phone over and over again. 2 more minutes. I was so not ready for this. She'll probably laugh at me. I will if you keep mumbling to yourself like that. I let out what Kirishima would call an unmanly scream. That caused her to laugh. Dude, you were really deep into that mumble storm, Gyro said after she calmed down. It's not funny. I knew my face was bright red right now. Whatever, dude. Why did you want to meet up here? She asked, arms crossed. There was a speck of suspicion in her eyes. I need help with talking or texting to a girl. I've never done this before, I blurted out. She raised an eyebrow. You're telling me you and Uraraka just started texting one another? Huh, we don't even have each other's number. Gyro's eyes widened. But aren't you two at least friends? Yes, but what does that have to do with anything? She facepalmed, annoying me a bit. Never mind, because your errata has nothing to do with my current situation. So, what do you need again? Just basic guideline on how to talk and text to a girl. The right responses and stuff, I told her. I heard her sigh. Midoriya, not girl, is the same. Just be yourself and truthful. We don't need another wannabe player like Kaminari. My advice is just get to know her, she advised me. I don't know you that well, Midoriya, but I know you enough to know you didn't make the first move. The girl must really interested in you if she was bold enough to make the first move. Gyro's words had to have some truth. I mean, Toga was freaking stalking me and knew all my nerdy mannerisms. She already knew how I acted, so no need to be different. If I did, she would get suspicious, and that would lead to bad things. I bowed once again. Thank you again, Gyro. You've been a big help. Quit with all the bowing, dude. It wasn't a problem, she said. But I do have one question, if you don't mind. Sure. Why did I get suddenly nervous? Who is she? My breath hitched. I see, can't tell you, I answered, sweat beading down my forehead as she stared me down. But I stood my ground. She shook her head after a minute. Figures. Best of luck to you, Midoriya. I was then left on the roof by myself. I'm going to need all the luck I can get. League of Villains. It was another boring day with the gang. Tamura had gone out to do some business, with Kurogiri in tow. More like babysitting Tamura. I saw a portal open, a smiling boss man coming out. Guess business was good. Kuri, as I like to call him, went back to his bar. He pulled out a hand cloth and started to clean his drink glasses. Time to give him something to actually clean for once. Kuri, make me a milkshake. I am a bartender, not a cashier at McDonald's. Was he offended? But I'm too young to drink. He hated whining. He got enough of that from Boss Man. I smiled victoriously as I watched him grab a glass. A minute later, a pink milkshake with whipped cream was on the counter. It even had a cherry on top. I drank it slowly to savor the creamy strawberry flavor. Kuri really made some good drinks, alcoholic or not. Thanks, Kuri. At least you have some form of manners, he muttered, going back to his glass cleaning routine. My phone started to ring. I saw it was my Izu-kun. I would have loved to answer, but too many co-workers were nearby. I chose the option to refuse the call and send the message to text me instead. My love, hey. Me, hey babe. Me, how was school? Me, I hadn't texted you today, BC. I was waiting in you to get of class. Me, I know those hero classes can be long. I needed to slow down. I haven't given him the chance to respond yet. I know he gets flustered easily. My love, it wasn't too bad today. Me, anything interesting happened today? My love, no. It's been pretty standard. Me, I miss you. The icon telling me he was typing disappeared. Then it came back, and left again. Came back, went away. My love, you'll get to see me soon. Me, yeah, this Saturday. Me, I already have everything planned out. Me, I got the place we're going to eat, do a little shopping, and a surprise. My love, oh, that sounds fun. My love, I'm about to start on my homework. Me, work smart, not hard. Zaxo. My love, thank you. Ah, he was still so polite and nervous. I'm going to change some of that real soon. The surprise should do that. Now filled with near unlimited excitement, I drank the rest of my milkshake greedily. I saw Kuri staring at me. Yes, you seem very happy. I was just texting my new boyfriend, and we are going on a date Saturday. He kept cleaning. Shall be available if you need an escape route. I ate the cherry. Don't bother. This one is special. I jumped from my stool and headed back to my room. Magnetic was still in there. Hey, big sis, want to help me rob some clothing stores? I've got to knock my date off his feet. She smiled at me, picking up her magnet. Sounds like a girl's night out. Oh God, I don't know what to wear. I've never been on a date before. I don't want to mess this up. Okay, calm down, Izuku. Stop pacing around your room. You just need some good advice from one of the guys. Now who to choose? Ida, too fancy. Todoroki. His taste in clothing seems to be just as bland as mine. Kachin. Fat chance of him helping. Plus, I don't want to look like a hoodlum. One time was good enough. Kirishima. I'm not a Crocs guy, no offense to him. Tokoyami. Too edgy. Siro was a big maybe. And Kaminari was not be trusted, according to Gyro. Minta. I don't feel like being arrested. I'm not a fan of flamboyant clothing, so no Aoyama. I'm sure Toga would like to see my face, so Shoji is out. Koda. People might get the wrong impression with all the animal-themed stuff on me. Plus, that would confuse Toga. I've only seen Ojiro in our school uniform, or a gi like his hero uniform. Sato wore simple outfits for workout and casual stuff. It showed off his muscles in a way I could be comfortable with, I think. Muscle man it is then. I've been around Kachin too long during that mini break after Camino. Auntie had been super protective and basically had him under house arrest. With me being the only person from school she trusted to see him. Or was it because everyone else's parents wouldn't let their kids leave their home district at the time? So far about a week, I was forced to listen to Kachin complain about everyone and everything. Mostly our classmates, since Kirishima made a group chat on this chat app for the class. One Kachin made me download and put me in the group so I could be miserable with him, which led to everyone asking if Kachin was alright. I'm sure he is still mad about that. I got to learn everyone's nickname through chat. I was only missing like 2 anyway. I honestly expected a worse name for Sato, like fuck lips or something. I felt dirty for even thinking of the F word. My new problem was I didn't know where Sato was located, and I only had 2 hours to prepare. Time to check the closest possible location. I bolted out of my room, knocking over Kaminari. I'll apologize later. This was the second time this had happened. I got to the first floor and headed to the kitchen, and there he was, eating a slice of cake. Sato-san. He looked up at me. Sup, Midoriya. I ran over to him. I need your help. With what? He asked, not fazed by my suddenness. With a girl. The familiar voice of Gyro answered for me from behind me. I jumped and turned around to face her. Why did you tell him that? I was saving him from your mumbling and stuttering, she answered, without a care in the world. And it's not Uraraka, Sato. Damn, he responded. I just lost 1,000 yen to Bakugo. Stop telling him everything. And why does everyone keep bringing up Uraraka? I was ignored. I'm guessing Mr. Mutters nagged himself a date somehow, Gyro said. So he needs something better than his normal wear. Still casual, though. Something that shows off his body a bit. Sat nodded in agreement. I'm sure I can do something. Hopefully he has some shirts with really short sleeve to show off his biceps. And no kanji, Gyro added. Guys, and it has to be fitted, Sato continued, also ignoring me. I doubt he has anything like that, Gyro remarked. Probably have to borrow a shirt from someone his height, but skinnier. Like Kaminari. I was going even try anymore, so I let Sato keep speaking. But Kirishima probably has some fitted shirts. You're right. Plus, he can keep his mouth shut for longer than Kaminari, Gyro agreed. I trust Midoriya in your capable hands. He gave her a thumbs up before dragging me away. I asked for this, didn't I? Later. I was sitting on a bench waiting on Toga to arrive. I was dressed in a black muscle shirt that was very snug on me, courtesy of Kirishima. I had a pair of khaki cargo shorts with ankle-high white socks and my red sneakers. I had to beg to wear the pair of shoes. I was glad Gyro and Sato had snuck me out of the dorms. I mean, Aizawa-sensei knew I was gone, but I didn't want attention from my classmates with my clothes. I had gotten, and still am getting, a lot of stares from females on the way here. Glad Yororaka isn't here. Izu-kun, my head snapped in the direction of the voice. There she was, not even disguised. Well, she did change her clothes. She had a black short-sleeved shirt with a red broken heart in the center, an oversized long-sleeved shirt with stripes alternating between black and pink underneath the first shirt. She wore ruffled black miniskirt, a chunky black belt with a silver square buckle on her waist, and had fishnet leggings on and a pair of black platforms boots. The entire ensemble was finished by the spiky collar on her neck. I'm sure my eyes were buck wide. It was a very eye-catching attire, cute, but strangely alluring at the same time. Those fishnet leggings showing off her toned legs. Bad thoughts. Don't think that way about this villain. No matter how good she looks right now. Ark. I stood up as she ran towards me. Hey, Toga. I wasn't expecting the hug, the force of her making me take a few steps back. Her chest was pressed up against mine, and I had to force myself to not look downwards. I was getting a pleasurable feeling I wish would go away. Hug me back, she whispered into my ear, her hot breath making me slightly weak in the knees. Or do you really want the attention of these other people? I looked around to see passers-by staring at us. One guy about my age in green spandex and with a bowl cut was giving me a thumbs up with a big cheery smile. Somehow he was making his teeth shine to the point that even Ayama would be jealous. Might be his quirk. I smiled sheepishly back and returned the hug awkwardly. She smiled at me as she finally let go. You hungry, babe? She asked me. My stomach answered for me. Guess so. She grabbed my hand, pulling me towards me somewhere. I didn't notice last time how soft her hands were. No, stop it, Izuku. Soon we were at the door of this small building. I didn't catch the name since we rushed through the doors. I was lead to table in the corner away from everyone. The small glances I took around reminded me of an American diner that I had visited once with my dad and mom in California. My home training kicked in, and I pulled out the seat for Toga, who gave me a big old smile. Such a gentleman. I choose not to respond, sitting down in my own seat. I looked at her to see her staring at me with voracious hunger. It didn't scare me for some reason, giving me excitement instead. Oh no, she eyed my chest once again, licking her lips. I like what you're wearing, Izu-kun. It fits so well on you. You looking like a snack. Her fangs were on full display right now. I swallowed the ball of nervousness, anxiety, and excitement that had formed in my throat. Thank you. She just kept smiling at me. She crossed her arms under her chest, making it pop out. What do you think of my outfit? I think I was having a hot flash. It looks great on you, Toga. She leaned over, somehow making her chest even more noticeable. I was guilty of staring like a minta. What do you like best? My eyes darted up. I felt the fear of being caught. Instead of anger, she had a smirk on her face. I like how your outfit shows off your legs. I clamped my hand over my mouth. Did I really just say that? I took a chance and glanced at my date. She is smiling even more now. Really? I thought you were more interested in these. She emphasized her chest again before frowning. Are they not good enough? They're great. Shut up, mouth. I saw a lady walk towards us with menus. How are you two doing today? Great, Toga answered for us. I nodded in agreement. The lady handed us our menus. We're having a special where you can get a sundae, any flavor you want, for haul off for couples only. My eyes widened. People really thought we were a couple. Oh God, save me. Izukun, let's get that. Strawberry flavor, Toga yelled excitedly. Oh, let's put something on our stomachs first, I suggested. Toga agreed, and our server said she would be back with 2 glasses of water. We were looking at the menus for a minute before Toga asked me something. What are you going to get, babe? The double cheeseburger with lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and mustard, I answered. I'm getting seasoned fries as my side. I haven't had an American meal like this in so long. The last time was last year with my dad. V never had American food before, so I'll get the same thing. But I'm going for the single cheeseburger instead, she told me. Good choice, was my response. What drink are you getting? Sweet tea. American sweet tea is super sweet, especially the southern kind they serve here. They just dump sugar in it, I warned her. What are you getting then? Sweet tea, I answered lamely, but I'm used to it. My dad and I get it all the time. I felt her stare intensify. She had this curious expression on her face. I've never seen your father before. Darn it, me and my big mouth. His work keeps him away from home. So he works overseas then, maybe in America. Her curious expression turned into of a hunter's, like she has just cornered her prey. Could I even talk my way out of this? I already said so much. Why did I get comfortable? This date was forced. Izukun, she said softly, grabbing my hand on the table. What's said here stays here. The gang won't hear a word of it. Gang? She must be talking about the League of Villains. I can't trust you. Tamura's reach doesn't even go out of the country, she told me. It pales in comparison to the previous leader. Was she trying to make me let my guard down? Was she even telling the truth? As I was searching her eyes for the truth, our server came back and gave us our waters. We gave her our orders and Toga never let go of my hand. We went back to staring at one another. I weighed the decision of telling her the truth. She could easily look up my dad or ask someone in the neighborhood. Everyone there know who he was, and he worked in America. He was one of the leading agents of the company he worked for, earning him a personal page on their website. He does, I finally answered. There wasn't really any reason to lie or any benefit for me. She smiled. Was that so hard? Yes, I wasn't being sarcastic either. She bopped me on the nose. It will get easier soon. I promise I won't tell anyone. Cross my heart. I sighed after she made an X over her already broken heart with her hand. Can we talk about something else? Sure. What do you want to talk about? She asked. Gyro's words came to mind. Tell me more about yourself. The next few minutes were filled with idle chatter. I learned she was into the kawaii culture, loved everything sweet, practiced Parker, thought the current hero system was failing, wanted a pet sugar glider, and I was the most important thing in her life. Most of the stuff was really girly and normal. I didn't agree the hero system was failing, but it did have its faults. No system was perfect, and I didn't want to touch on her obsession with me. Our food arrived, the aroma reawakening my hunger. I took a crack at the fires, which were salty and crispy. I added ketchup for that salty and sweet brain confusing combo. Once I ate half of my fires, I took a sip of my tea before moving on to the burger. The greasy beef tantalized my tongue. I swallowed my current bite and took another sip of my tea. You're really enjoying yourself, Toga commented, a frown on her face. Makes me think you forgot all about little ol' me. No, 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 I swear I didn't, I told her, making her quickly lose her frown, turning it upside down. She had only eaten a few fires and a small bite out of her burger. Do you not like the food? I love it. But it was interesting to see you wolf down the food like you haven't eaten today. I rubbed my neck nervously. Well, actually, this is my first meal today, and I haven't had American food in a long time. I have a strict diet to keep up my physique. So this is your cheat day, she asked. I get one a week, I answered. Normally, I would eat a bunch of cake or something. She grabbed her burger. I'll have to make sure I pick some good places since your cheat day is now going to be with me from now on. Every W week. She took a bite of her burger and swallowed. If our schedules don't conflict, then yes. Was this really my life now? Weekly dates with a villain. A voice that sounded suspiciously like Cochin's was laugh at the absurdity of the situation. Do you not like this? I heard her ask. It's fine. Don't want to upset her. Good. That was all she said that sent chills down my spine. The rest of the meal was in silence, half comfortable and half awkward, perfectly balanced as things should be. The server returned once again to pick up our now finished food. She returned shortly afterwards with a cup of dessert, and Toga was bouncing in her seat. It looks so good, Izukan. She was right, and my mouth was salivating at the sight of it. I checked to make sure I wasn't drooling like her. Let's dig in, babe. I chuckled at her enthusiasm. I went to grab a spoon, but my hand was smacked away by hers. I'll feed you. My face got a little heated at the idea as she moved her seat right beside mine. She took a spoon and got a scoop of the sundae. She put it in her mouth, her ever-smiling face gaining an even wider smile. Good. Your turn, Izukan. She got another scoop with the same spoon and brought it to my face. Taste it. But you've already eaten off it, I protested. She rolled her eyes. I am a very clean person. I brush my teeth and floss twice a day. I gulped as the cold spoon was right against my trembling lips. I let the spin in, enjoying the flavor of strawberry syrup, vanilla ice cream, and cuts of strawberries. This was so inappropriate, being fed by a girl, sharing the same spoon, and in public. What would my mother think? Izuku Midoriya, how dare you shame your family like this? The Cochin impersonator said. I ignored him or it, in favor of trying to stay calm as Toga switched between feeding herself and me. The sundae was quickly gone, and I let Toga have the cherry. Babe, you got a little whipped cream on your lip. Let me get it. I was expecting her to use a napkin, not bend over and use the tip of her tongue to get it. I knew I was super blushing now. Even our server was blushing as she handed our bill and ran off with the empty dessert cup and spoons. The food wasn't expensive when I looked at the bill, and I could feel Toga peering over my shoulder. I took out the necessary funds out my wallet to pay for it, noticing Toga doing the same. I'm paying, we both said. Jinx, I'm getting another kiss, she said. I felt my lips twitch upwards. No, bad mouth. You've already done a bunch of stupid stuff today. I'm still paying, I said, placing my money down. Are you sure? She asked. This was my idea. I took note of the hesitancy in her voice. Yes, don't worry about it. She smiled. You get an extra reward today. Huh? The server came back for the final time and took the payment after counting the money. She wished us a good day, still slightly blushing. Toga then lead me out the diner to a small store nearby. It was filled to the brim with dark clothing with strange symbols on them, books shelved with supernatural tomes, and posters of strange creatures. Tokoyami's dream store, basically. "You've been in here before?" I asked Toga, as we passed by the bored-looking punk clerk. He was wearing a black shirt with a crying skull on it, something that would fit on Gyro. Guess she would shop here too. "Nope, but I think we should try something new together," she answered. "This whole dating thing is new to me," I quipped under my breath. "Same here." I didn't mean for her to hear that. We walked down the aisles, going through all the strange things we came across, like a book some godlike creature with a tentacle face. Kind of freaked me out. Our time was cut short when I heard the board clear at the counter talk. "Sup, Fumi." No, it can't be. I looked back to see my bird-headed classmate had just walked in. Oh crap, I jinxed myself. I grabbed Toga's hand and put a finger to her mouth to keep her silent as she looked at me with this adorable confused face. No, adore later, run first. No adoring. In the far corner of the shop, I saw changing rooms. Perfect. I led Toga back there, into one of the rooms, and locked the door behind us. "One of my classmates is here." "Which one?" "Doesn't matter, I can't be seen with you," I told her. "This store is his type of place." "I guess we will be here for a while," she said. I looked at her and nodded. "I guess so." She smiled deviously, making me inch close to the wall of the room. "Let's have some fun then, Izukun." She took a step forward, and I took a step back, getting a sense of déjà vu. The hunger in her eyes scared me. It seemed live she was going to devour me. I felt my back hit against the wall. I had nowhere to run. She pressed up against me, her hand on my sides, near the lower hem of my shirt. Our lips met for the first time today, but this time she only withdrew a hair's breadth away before kissing me again, and she kept doing this over and over, and I couldn't fathom why I wasn't stopping her. I felt her soft hands rub against my abs, finally kicking my brain into gear. I pushed her slightly back so I could speak. "Togmemph." She had closed the distance as soon as my mouth opened, and now her tongue was exploring my mouth. Was her feeling me up just a distraction? Would Hatsum do something like this? And what's worse, my tongue got into a wrestling match with hers. I didn't know what I was doing, what was happening, and why I couldn't control myself. But I shamefully admit I was enjoying myself. But why? I shouldn't be. I didn't want to be here. But you like no love, the position you are in now. Shut up, Kachin. Wait, he wasn't here. Now I have a voice in my head that sounds like him and mocks me. I've been here for years. Anytime you have self-confidence issues, which is like every day. Great. I was going crazy trying to gain dominance in this tongue spar with Toga, enjoying her hands going up and down my body, my hands slithering downward like disobedient snakes, sneaking underneath her skirt. "Stop hands, bad hands." I think I died a little on the inside as my hands grabbed her rear, like I would never do that. But that got her to stop fighting me and gasp. "Someone's excited," she said, a giant smirk on her face. Her hands went down, a little too far down. My hips bucked a bit. Really excited. "Toga, maybe we should stop," I suggested. "Himiko," she whispered. "Huh?" "Call me Himiko," she whispered again as she unzipped my pants. "Toga," she glared at me. "I mean Himiko. This is a little too far, don't you think?" Gyro made an audible hissing noise. "Damn, dude, she's a biter. It's purple." What are you talking about?" I was so confused. Gyro took out her phone and took a picture. "Look at this." I looked at the screen to see a big purple bruise on my neck near my collarbone. Himiko left that. How am I supposed to hide this? What would Aizawa say on Monday? Or worse, All Might? Or even worse, midnight? I could never live her teasing down. Calm down, dude. I'll apply some foundation and you'll be fine, Gyro said pleadingly. I'm sure either me or Momo have some that matches your skin tone. Hell no. He needs to wear it with pride, Sato protested. Gyro frowned. Did you forget he's trying to keep this on the down low? Oops. I definitely didn't need people finding about this. Mina and Toru would spread rumors like wildfire. Gyro turned her attention back to me. Midoriya, before you come back from your dates, check yourself out. If you need help hiding something, contact one of us. I don't have either one of your numbers, I said. They both gave me theirs. Anyways, tell us about your date, Gyro said. You can't hold out on us, man. We've helped you, and this is our payment, Sato added. I looked around nervously, seeing nothing but the barely lit campus grounds of UA before telling the two about today's events. You hit the mark on the clothes, Sato, Gyro complimented with a smirk after I told them exactly what Himiko said. Toga, I mean, you doubted me. Gyro hit the stocky teen in the ribs. Don't give him an ego. We've got enough guys with those in our class. Sorry. Whoa, was all Sato was able to say when I told them about what Himiko had done right before we left the diner. Gyro was slack-jawed. I told them how I freaked out when I saw Fumikage enter the store Himiko brought me to and then dragged the girl into the changing room. Sato began rubbing his hands deviously, muttering something about this was the good part. Gyro had rolled her eyes at him, asking if Himiko was okay with what I did. She already knew how I felt about people knowing about me being in a relationship, and that didn't bother her. I answered sheepishly as Gyro glowered at me. Whatever, just continue. I'm with Sato on this. Sato grabbed me. How much action did you get? Why did my mouth always betray me? Gyro and Sato gave each other a look I couldn't decipher. Sato, Gyro sounded scandalized. Guys, the pair looked at me. What are you talking about? The 4 bases, Midoriya, Gyro answered. I was still confused. She punched the bridge of her nose in obvious frustration. Sato, explain please. So which one did you get to? Sato asked excitedly. A glint appeared Sato's eye, frightening me. Are you sure about that? I tried to curl into myself. Yeah. Sato, stop it, Gyro said. You're tormenting him. He ignored Gyro. Was it really just first base? Second, I swear, I said a normal voice. The sound of something crashing into something and a yelp of pain put us on alert. We walked to the source, near the garbage bin. Nobody was there, and nothing was out of place. Wonder who that was, I said before we decided to go back inside my room. I was sitting on my bed, just having made it to my room. Today's events were still weighing heavily on my mind, and why I told Jaro and Soto. I was grateful for their help, and they both seemed capable of keeping a secret. It was kind of funny I could tell them, but not my friends. Ida would scold me, and Uraraka would have a death glare and a killer aura. Todoroki would have his patent poker face. Even though I spoke to other people about today, I was still restless thinking about it. I need an older, more experienced person to help me. All Might. I don't think he's ever been in a relationship. Mom? No way. Dad could help. I looked at the time to see it was right after Kachin's bedtime. Dad should be up now. I grabbed my phone and called the second number on my contact list. Hey there, sport. Hey, Dad, I responded. I need your help. With what, son? Girls, I felt my heart try to escape through my throat. Let me get your mom on the phone, too. No, I yelled. She can't know about this. There was silence. That was my cue to explain myself. I went on a date today with this girl I recently met, and it was, for a lack of better word, wild. A girl from your school? He asked. No, that was a weird thing to ask. Explain what happened. I told him how it started and how we went to this American diner. He asked what she got and said she had good taste when I told him the answer. I then told him about the dessert incident. Huh, neat. That's all, Dad. Know how I shouldn't done that, or I could have brought shame to the family. What kind of response was that? First off, you've been watching too many American drama shows with your mom. Second, I'm not your mom, and she wouldn't even say those things, my dad answered. But, son, the girl is really into you, like a lot, and she's really forward with what she wants, Dad said. The real question is, are you into her? I don't know, I answered. Is she pretty? Her fair-skinned face came to mind. Yes. Do you see her as attractive? Images of her petite body and chest pressed up against mine, hands running across my body, popped into my head. Her toned, slender legs on display underneath that cute skirt she was wearing. Yes. So you are attracted to her, he said. What do you like about her personality? I scratched my head. I've only met her recently and been on one date. I guess her cheerfulness and how my nervous habitats don't creep her out. She thinks they are kind of cute. I said the same thing about your mother. Dad, why are you encouraging this? I was curious. I don't want you to become so fixated on your hero career that you don't stop and smell the roses. I snorted. This rose had a lot of thorns on her. I'm serious, son. At least 1 in 10 heroes have no close relationships. They hardly speak to their families and have no significant other. Outside of work, they are miserable, making them work every waking moment to have some semblance of happiness. It's a rising epidemic in the hero industry and is one the things my job is combating. I didn't know that. You wouldn't since it's never covered by the media. Most of those guys severe from severe depression. I'm just overly worried because it's been talked about so much at work now. I don't want that to happen to you, or the angry little Pomeranian pup. I'm not a Pomeranian fire breath. I looked around to see if Kachin had barged into my room. That was just my mental Kachin, not the real Kachin. So you two stay close, okay? I think he will be fine, Dad. He has other people he hangs around too, I told him. But are they friends? Dad asked. You know how he is. I thought about it. Kaminari and Ciro were only regarded slightly better than his old lackeys, Tsubasa and that other guy. I was sure he at least respected Kirishima. I don't think so. See? We both he know isn't the most social of people. That was an understatement. But luckily he has you and his parents, and your mom. Dad, What does this have to do with anything? Sorry, got a little off topic. You know how it is. But the point is, I don't want you neglecting your current relationships or even denying future ones because you have tunnel vision on being a hero, Dad explained. I know how you are. Okay, I promise. Is that good enough? Yes, now what else happened on your date? 'Cause nothing really crazy happened, my dad said, unless you were exaggerating. Yep, I was totally exaggerating. You know me too well. Ha ha ha. Izuku, dad mode was at 100%. What happened? I can see his face now. Eyes narrowed with those reptilian slits for pupils. Smoke coming out of the edge of his mouth, fang barely visible. The image of a piss dragon. I was trembling, and he was even here. I went to second base. I could hear my dad release a resigned sigh. I guess I have to get you some condoms. We're not having sex. Izuku, listen to me. You are a hormonal teenager in high-stress school course. Anything can happen. It's better to be prepared, my dad said, and I'm sure it wasn't just touching going on. Dad. Boy, you were in a confined place with a really pretty girl who had the hots for you while making out, and then you probably let her feel all over before you that lead to other things, right? No. What you meant to say was yes. Maybe. He groaned. My point stands. I'm getting you condoms and don't worry. I won't tell your mom. That slightly relieved me until I remember an important fact. Dad, UA, screens all our mail. So, I'll just notify them ahead of time if you're so worried, he said. Geez, such a worrywart. Just like your mother. Just go with the flow sometimes, you know. And look where that got me, I replied grumpily. Turn that frown upside down. You know you liked it. Dad, you're sending me mixed messages. He laughed. Enjoy yourself, boy, but be equally prepared. Good night, son. I've got a meeting to get to. Have a good day, Dad. When I got back to the hideout, barely anyone was there. Curie was still at the bar, cleaning a new set of glasses he must have just gotten. He only stopped momentarily when I entered. Did you leave a body? He asked. Nope, I answered cheerily, popping the pea. I could see the curiosity in his eyes. This one is a keeper. HM was all he said before losing entrance. I went to my room, slightly disappointed Magni wasn't there. Now I nobody to gush to about my date. I placed down the bag I brought with me. It contained my date outfit. I had changed afterwards. I had followed my Izu-kun to UA to make sure no undesirables messed with him. No one messes with my man. I had waited around to see if he was going to text me that he had made it back to the dorm safely. After half an hour, I got anxious and left. That was rude of him. I'm going to let him know right now. It might be late, but he didn't have class tomorrow, so he better answer. Hello. Izu-kun, I could tell he had fallen asleep. Himiko, it's 11. I contained a giddy squeal. He addressed me by my first name. I just had to see if you made it back safely, I told him. I might have gotten a little worried. So next time, text me when you get back there. Zero, okay, so cute. I promise I will. 'Cause I know when you made it there, I told him. It was 7:35 p.m. Oh. So what did you do when you got back? I asked. I wanted to tell Magni about our date, but she's out. I'm a little bummed out about that. Well, tell me, Izu-kun. I talked to some of my classmates about our date. They helped me earlier with preparing for the date, he said. So 2 of my classmates know I'm seeing someone. Just a heads up. It's not a good heads up if you don't tell me who it is, I whined. Himiko, there he goes again. I'm getting all hot. Izu-kun, I already made a promise I wasn't going to hurt any innocents, I reminded him. I never break my promises, my sweet cute green obsession. Sato and Gyro, he told me after a moment of silence. Don't know them, but I was going to look them up, make sure they weren't competition. Did you talk to Ochako-chan? No, I was too busy talking to Sato and Gyro, he told me, but Uraraka was the first person to greet me when I returned. I got a little miffed. Hey Himiko, everybody keeps bringing her up, and I don't know why. Like any time I have a girl problem, they assume it's Uraraka. I laughed. You're so dense, baby. Don't worry about it. Just focus on me. And only me. Okay, he stayed confused. Himiko, I still have one thing to tell you. What is it, babe? Think we W went too far today, he stuttered. I could just imagine him fidgeting and blushing. We should slow D down. I felt a ting of disappointment, but I hid it with my cheer. That's what you want, babe, but we can still kiss and make out, right? Sure, but our hands have stay in appropriate places. Sure, babe, time for some teasing. I guess my butt wasn't good enough for you if you want to do this. That's and not, I swear. He took the bait. So you like grabbing my ass? I teased. Well, you see, I'm just messing with you, my silly Izu-kan, I told him. But you did enjoy today, right? Why, yeah. What are you doing tomorrow? I asked. Some training and going to see my mom, he answered. Why do you ask? To see if you have any free time tomorrow, I said. Maybe I should come over tomorrow. No, he yelled. That was surprising. You see, can't. Kachin is going to be there. Who's Kachin? I asked, trying to hide my jealousy. The guy you captured. Red eyes, blonde hair, explosion quirk, and couldn't stop cursing. Oh, why is he going to be there? I wasn't jealous anymore, just curious. Well, you see, we've been friends since we're toddlers, he explained. Our mothers go way back and both our families are meeting up tomorrow at my mom's for dinner. Sounds fun, babe. I heard loud footsteps from nearby. Sounds like the gang came back. I've got to go. I love you, baby. Good night, Himiko. It was Tuesday, the second day of classes for this week. Nothing had happened that was different or stranger than usual. Besides yesterday when I ate lunch somewhere private because Himiko wanted to chat on the phone. I had to make up a believable excuse for my friends, especially Uraraka. She had been, as what I can best describe as hovering over me the last couple of days. It reminded me of my mother, which made the behavior slightly annoying since she wasn't my mom. But I ignored that feeling because she was my friend, and I didn't have many of those. Well, I didn't have any friends besides Kachin until UA, and I was still scared of losing them over doing something stupid, so I just Uraraka let be. Ida was the easiest to fool and Uraraka had been slightly harder. I could tell Todoroki was suspicious of me. I wouldn't be surprised if he confronted me later and think it's somehow his fault. Probably bring up how he's fated to be the hand crusher. Class, we are having a special class today, Sensei told us. I perked up. And we have a special speaker. I got a little giddy, ignoring the obvious anger Kachin was sending off from my behavior. The happiness turned into fear when midnight walked. Good morning, my lustful students. Excuse me, Kayama-sensei, but none of us are lustful, Ida shouted. As a class president, I must defend my class's honor. That's cute, mini ingenium, but we all know Maita has no honor. Much of the class erupted in a chorus of ohs and ahs as the purple-haired boy cried. The class was silenced by the wombo combo of midnight whip cracking and Eraserhead's quirk-enhanced glare. I felt bad that I didn't feel bad about Minta. Today's lesson is going to be sex ed, Midnight announced excitedly. The class groaned in response. Stop being prudes. You're all so young and filled with energy. Don't encourage them, Aizawa droned. You're having this class because two of your classmates were male protection. He looked at me. I shuddered a bit, still wondering who was the second person. Hopefully not Minta, since he only looked at the back of the class. Can't be Todoroki. I don't think he even understands sexual attraction. And Yaoyorozu. Don't make me laugh. Kachin turned around. Guess your old man gave you a pack too. Well, that solves that mystery. Dad must have spoken to Uncle. I nodded. Don't go too hard on Round Face. If it's hair for brains, go nuts. She probably likes that shit. What? Why did he say that about Uraraka and Hatsum? It wasn't like they were the only two females anyone saw me around. Wait, they were. That didn't mean we were doing stuff. Other than Hatsum touching me somewhat inappropriately all the time. Actually, I can see a small reason he mentioned Hatsum. Midoriya Bakugo, do you two have something to share with the class? Aizawa asked. Other than the fact you two are the reason we are having this class. I knew I was bright as a tomato now, if I wasn't already before. No, sensei. Kachin did that harsh blowing noise he was so fond of as he turned around. No. I saw everyone was looking at us. Uraraka had her scary face on. I definitely had to prepare myself and keep Kachin quiet. I liked being in orbit, even if my BFF would be in space with me, so it wouldn't be too bad. Kachin wouldn't like that, though. Later that day, after the traumatic session had ended with Midnight, Zero and Kaminari had ran over to Kachin and me. Kachin had sent them one of his murder glares, level 3, so they didn't bother him. They came over to me, begging for what Dad had sent me. I felt my anxiety about to overload me, until Minta, of all people, saved me. He had told the pair he had condoms to share. Kaminari and Zero looked at him weirdly before declining. Minta had a little tantrum demanding to know what's wrong with his stuff. Sito said that the size difference was too great. I just stood there in shock as the three got in a fight while Kachin was dying of laughter in his seat. Yaoyorozu's face was just as red as mine. Gyro and Asui came back and stopped the fight as Sensei had already fallen asleep, or was just ignoring us. I was leaning on the ladder. It was his nap time. After the fight had broken up, I met up with Ida, Todoroki, and Uraraka in the hallway. Ida said he needed to talk to Uraraka and me after class in the dorm kitchen, which was where I was heading now, with Uraraka practically attached to my hip during the whole walk there. Deku-kun, what do you think he wants to meet about? She asked. I shrugged. I have no idea. What did you think of our special class? I felt heat rushing to my face. It was very informative, much more detailed than I expected. Still not as bad as my dad's lessons. I shivered in remembrance. How was that? I jumped away from her. I said that out loud. She shook her head. No, you were mumbling again. Uraraka hopped beside, something she must have picked up from Asui. At least Uraraka didn't get down on all fours like her. Didn't Asui know how short the skirts were? But I've gotten better at understanding it. I think only Bakugo understands it better than me. And my parents. That's good, I guess. I rubbed my neck sheepishly in response. Uraraka pumped a fist in the air in some strange form of recognizing victory, I guess. My phone buzzed and I checked to see a message from Himiko. I caught Uraraka trying to peek at my screen. I turned slightly away, not acknowledging the invasion of privacy. Himik was asking what I had planned for the day. I texted her that I didn't know yet as Uraraka, and I entered the kitchen. Ida was sitting down at the table. Uraraka, Midoriya, Ida stood up. I have a very important task for you too. I've already gained permission from Aizawa-sensei for this. Uraraka and I glanced at one another before Ida gave us a sheet of paper and a wad of cash. I got the paper, she got the cash. The paper had a list of food items. Ida, is this a grocery list? His hand chop was right in my face. Correct. I consulted with Vice Representative Yaoyorozu, and we decided that you two are the most trustworthy for this task. Uraraka, your skills of money management, haggling, and finding alternative products has deemed you the best for handling the grocery funds. Uraraka had stars in her eyes. Midoriya, your strict adherence to your diet, workout, and studying make you the best for acquiring all of the necessary items and not anything extra. And with your skills combined, Yaoyorozu and I believe you too will gather the most cost-efficient cart of groceries, Ida finished dramatically. We won't let you down, Ida, Uraraka said eagerly. Right, Deku-kun? I nodded dumbly, too afraid of what could possibly happen later. I had finished Bad Touch Man's job an hour ago, and it just happened to be right in the same district as UA. I stayed in a nearby cafe afterward, watching the gates of the hero school. I was looking for a way in, but I couldn't get close enough to get a good look. No one walked on the side of the road that UA was on. I couldn't just walk over there. The cameras would spot me instantly. I needed a crowd to blend in and use the blood from that thug to hide. I might have taken off my cardigan today, but I was still recognizable in my old school uniform. It wasn't the exact same one I ran away with. That one got but destroyed after a fight with this fire quirk guy. I liked the dark blue seifuku enough to steal another set. I even found another red scarf to recreate the whole outfit a year ago. As I sipped on my bubble tea, I saw my favorite head of jean hair, and then a familiar bob of brunette hair. I stopped drinking at that moment. I got up and marched out of the cafe, throwing the cup in the garbage, still half full. I followed them down the street. I checked my phone to see if Izu-kun had texted me. I have to get groceries, that's all it said. So he was letting me know he was leaving the campus. Good boy, but he had forgotten that tidbit about a tag-along. Bad boy, there will be a punishment. I bared my fangs when I saw Ochako-chan repeatedly touching my Izu-kun. Couldn't she see she was making him uncomfortable? He kept shuffling away. Take a hint, girl. When they got inside the store, I texted him. Get away from her. Now. He took one look at his phone, his widened, and he began to look around frantically. Izu-kun, you are being so obvious. He started to speak very erratically and stuttered as Ochako-chan listened patiently. I could see she was all worried, and all those questions she was asking was pissing me off. Stupid lip-reading ability. Why did I learn that again? Izuku said they should split up to gather more groceries quicker. He ripped the piece of paper in half, thrust her into her hands, and ran off. I met him at the entrance, as he had to get his own car. Hey, Izu-kun, I purred as he picked up a handheld basket. Himiko, don't you know who that is? He whispered harshly. I grabbed his free hand, my thumb rubbing over his pretty scars, as we began to walk the aisles. Yep, that's Ochako-chan. We met at the little forest camping trip, and I made her realize something important about herself. So you know that a person could recognize you and you still followed me, he asked in disbelief. You could easily get caught. I poked him in the cheek. Hey, mister, I wasn't the one making it obvious that something was wrong. He blushed. Such a cutie. Was I that bad? I nodded. Yep, so we're going to play a game to help you with that. I'm going to point out a person. You have 3 seconds to examine them. Afterward, you have to give me all the details you got. Understand? Why would I need to do this? He asked. Because it will help you with your hero career. His lit up with interest. It will help you find the strengths and weaknesses of your foes quicker. I'm already good at that. I smirked. Practice makes perfect, Izu-kun. Impress me. He finally relented, eyes shining with determination. I got a little turned on. He was taking me seriously. Something that rarely happened. I pointed at my first target. That one. Izu-kun's head snapped in the direction my finger was pointing. 3 seconds. Time's up. Male. About 63 inches tall and 125 pounds. Has some form of mutant quirk related to mice. Has the ears, facial structure, nose, whiskers, and even the tail. His attire suggests he is a middle-aged working man. Probably desk job. Impressive. Keep that up and you might get a special award, I said slyly. Was it a trick of the light, or did his eyes just shine even more? Her, I pointed at some blonde-haired lady. Shit, did Izu-kun just swear? I was going to take a closer look at the person, but Izuku pulled me away. That was close, he muttered. Who was that? I wanted to know who could make him act so unusually. Auntie Mitsuki, he answered. She would never let me out of her sight if she saw us. She's really bossy and super aggressive, which is where Kachin got his attitude from. Oh, that's his mom, I said, realizing why he was acting like this. Can't let anybody of your family know you're dating, right? He brought his thumb to his mouth, nibbling on the tip of the nail. I wanted to nibble on him tonight. It's not the idea of me dating that is bad, but who I am dating, he answered, glancing at me. No offense, I just don't think my family would be very receptive to you, because, you know, you're a villain and stuff. My dad knows I've been already on one date. Hey, you didn't tell me you told him, I interrupted. How much did you tell him? I was being very demanding, but he should not have left that out. You know, not telling me you told him is lying by omission, right? He faced paled in fear, and I realized I didn't like that look on him. I got right beside him, but he scooted away. Izu-kun. He looked down at the ground, his eyes looking up as he peeked from below his curly hair. He looked like a puppy that had done something wrong. It made my heart hurt. I'm not mad, I spoke gently, trying to reassure him, and I'm not going to do anything. But you have to tell me when you talk to others about our time together, and when you leave UA, with someone, understand? He nodded his head weakly, and I cooed to him to come to me. He shuffled his feet, and I pulled him into a hug, giving him a few kisses. I saw a few other shoppers looking at us curiously, like this one feminine guy with all white eyes and super long, luscious black hair. I was kind of jealous of his hair. After Izu-kun recovered, we went back to playing my game. I picked 4 more targets, and he excelled at breaking them down. Izu-kun, if you had a much weaker quirk or was quirkless, you would be a great quirk counselor, helping kids control their quirks so they could be the best in whatever they chose. Pretty heroic, right? He froze on the spot. You believe the quirkless can become heroes? Of course, you need a skin-tight outfit and beat up people to a bloody pulp to be a hero, I answered. People who help others in whatever way they can are heroes, quirk or no quirk. Doctors, policemen, and firemen are the biggest examples are heroes before we all got these wacky powers. Just because the government put label on it and made it into an official job doesn't mean everyone can't be a hero. He gave me a megawatt smile. Thanks, Himiko-chan. I knew I was blushing now. He added that affectionate honorific to my name. This is a big step. Izu-kun, you need to get these, I said, trying to get the attention off me. I was a little embarrassed about how he was making me feel in public. I can't, Himiko-chan. I can only get what's on this list. We were given a strict amount of money. I rolled my eyes, pulling out a few bills. My treat, babe. I placed the items in his cart, despite his squawking protests. I slipped the bills into his back pocket, giving the rear a good squeeze before stealing a kiss. See you soon, Izu-kun. I hopped away from my flustered man, heading back to base. I stopped and looked back at my love. Izu-kun, make sure you keep your distance from Achako-chan. I don't like how close she is getting to you. Minutes later, Deku-kun, Yuraruka shouted when I approached the agreed meeting spot. An employee that Toga had pointed out earlier gave me a questioning look. The white-eyed guy. You get everything? I asked. She nodded. You won't believe the sales they had today. Ida is going to be so impressed. She spotted something amiss in my cart. Her eyes narrowed threateningly. That wasn't on the list, Deku-kun. The worker and I trembled in fear from the anger she was radiating. It's something I'm buying W with my own money. She returned to normal. Okay, just make sure you keep it separated from the class's groceries. I nodded in response. After buying the groceries and packing them up, we got ready to leave. Excuse me, sir, can I speak to you for a moment? The grocer asked, taking a glance at Yuraruka in private. I turned to see Yuraruka glaring at the guy. She smiled instead when I looked at her. You can go outside, I'll be there shortly. She hesitated, looking me up and down, before leaving without a word. Sorry about that. I don't know what's up with her, I said to the white-eyed employee as we walked away from everyone. She's probably onto, that's why she's acting like that, he said. I stared at him in confusion. I believe she has a suspicion that you are cheating on her, which you are doing. No judgment, man, live your life. Just be more careful and don't have both of your girlfriends in the SME butling when you are there also. W, what are you talking about? Yuraruka isn't M my G girlfriend. She's J, just a friend. He blinked in surprise. Oh, well, make sure she knows that too. Sorry for keeping you. We went our separate ways, leaving me worried and confused. Why did he think Yuraruka and I were dating? I mean, it was obvious with Himiko-chan. What did that guy want, Deku-kun? She asked when I walked away, getting right beside me. I switched which hand I carried the groceries with, making a barrier between. Was this good enough, Himiko-chan? He just asked about if we're UA students. She tilted her head as we walked. I thought most people around here recognized us. Freak. He's colorblind. What a terrible lie. Yuraruka's gaze seemed to pierce my very being. She shrugged. Guess so. An uneasy silence formed between us. I was too scared to break it. What if I was the only one feeling like this? Then when I addressed it, then everything was awkward. The rest of the walk was silent. I was too afraid to speak up. I texted Himiko when we reached the dorms. Ida and Yaoyorozu were both waiting for us in the kitchen. They helped us put up the groceries. Everything was going fine until Ida came across the unknown. He plucked the strange item out of the cart and pointed fiercely at it. Midoriya, explain. It's a pomegranate. He bought it with his own money. Yuraruka jumped to my defense. Show him the receipts, Deku-kun. I gave him my receipt, while Yuraruka gave Yaoyorozu the first receipt and the remainder of the money we were given. Ida-san, they are telling the truth, Yaoyorozu said after counting the money. and they only had to spend 60% of the allowance. I apologize, Midoriya, for doubting you, he said while bowing. Uraraka and Yaoyorozu were giggling in the background as I tried to get Ida to stop bowing. It's okay. My phone beeped. A text from Himiko-chan. Make sure no one eats the treats I gave you. Who was that Deku-kun? My mom. That was at least believable. I jumped on my bed, finally done with my homework. Both my body and mind were exhausted. Hero Foundations was today, and we had to do duo battles again. As always, fate played me a cruel hand. I had to go against both Todoroki and Kachin, and I had Mainta as my teammate. The little guy was still with Recovery Girl, courtesy of Kachin. Mainta had said something about Kachin having man boobs before the battle. Kachin had not taken kindly to that comment and focused on Mainta instead of me. I felt jealous. I did try to save my teammate, but Todoroki and his frost powers kept getting in the way, and with his newly acquired fire added in, I had a bad time and we lost. My phone beeped. Must be Himiko since Ida doesn't text unless it's important. Same with Yaoyorozu. Kachin just never texted. HT, hey babe. Me, hey Himiko. HT, how was your day? I smiled. Tiring. HT, what happened? Me, had to fight Todoroki and Kachin today. Mainta was on my side. HT, isn't that unfair? Aren't those two somewhat broken? Me, are you using video game lingo? HT, I blame Bad Touch Man and his video game addiction. That's all he does when he's home. I do remember during USJ, he did use a lot of those terms, and during the mall incident, that still creeped me out. My neck started to itch. HT, do you have a herogram? Me, yes. HT, send me your username. Strange request, but I complied. HT, it's private. I'm sending a friend request so I can see your page. HT, I was going to do that anyway. I accepted the friend request when it came through. HT, I'm guessing your only other friend is Kachin, aka Lord Explosion Murder. Me, that's him. Was she about to search through my whole page? Not that it mattered. I only followed a bunch of hero and fan pages. I didn't follow anything else. HT, Izu-kun. HT, what's twerking? My phone slipped out of my hand and crashed onto the floor. I had forgotten that I had followed that page a year ago. Stupid hormones. Stupid trip to America. Why, Dad? Why did you plan a vacation during my puberty? I bet Himiko thinks I have a weird fetish, but it was perfectly normal, at least in America. It had been something popularized in the mid-2010s, and it was still popular 200 years later. It had become ingrained into American culture. Oh gods, I'm making excuses. Mainta's vile corruption has infected my very soul. How could I purify myself? Maybe that Vine user from Class 1B could help. She was a Christian, she could baptize me. Wait, what was baptism even for? Shoot, that could potentially be super rude to ask for her to do. Wait, Sunotori is in Class 1B. She could help explain that this was a normal thing to enjoy, and it would best to let it be explained by an American. There we go, Izuku. Now I just needed to speak to her alone. How was I going to do that? Their class president seemed like the overprotective type and would probably grill me for information on why I wanted to speak. To one of her foreigner classmates alone, and there was Monoma, Class 1B's Mainta. He would not let me near his class without pointing me out. He wasn't perverted like Mainta, but he was the most disliked. I would need help. I knew Kendo and Yaoyorozu were at least friends. They always talked for a while when our class passed by one another, so maybe my vice representative could distract Kendo, but Yaoyorozu would be suspicious of me. Gyro was friends with her, so maybe she could convince Yaoyorozu. That would work. Why did I feel so devious? 'Cause you're a stupid, overthinking dumbass, Deku. My phone rang before I could argue with mental caution. I picked it up off the floor, the caller ID showing the contact information for Himiko. Hello? Izu-kun. She sounded annoyed. You never answered my question. Well, I clicked on the page, oh no, and I don't like it. Himiko-chan, I started following it a year ago, I quickly explained. I'll unfollow it now. I went my Herogram and clicked on the profile page of Twerk Queen Suese. I was so stupid back then, but I will admit I would miss checking out the videos every couple of days when I was alone. But now I wouldn't have to listen to Kachin complain every time I liked or favorited a video. Guess I should delete all those videos off my favorites. You done? Himiko asked. Yes, I also removed all those types of videos from my favorites, I told her. Good. You don't need those anymore 'cause I'll do that for you. What? I'm not going to deprive you of something you like so much when I can do it myself. My mouth felt like someone put an oversize of cotton ball in there. This was too much. Looking at them through a screen was different from seeing it in person. I felt those before. Hey you, stay down. Izu-kun, I forgot I was on the phone. Sorry, Himiko-chan, I apologized. My brain just went a little haywire, you know. I so do. That usually happens when I think of super cute things like sugar gliders. How typical. And you too, of course. Thank you, Himiko-chan. Why was she able to make me blush over the phone? You're welcome, babe. Someone started to bang on my door with a heavy fist. Midoriya bro. That sounded like Kirishima. Himiko-chan, I have to go. Okay, babe. I love you. Dude, who are you talking to? Kirishima asked from outside. Enjoy the rest of your day, I whispered before hanging up and throwing my phone on the bed. I opened up the door to see Kirishima, Shiro, Kaminari, and Sato outside. Do you guys need something? It's a crisis, Midoriya. Some of Class 1B dudes egged our dorms, Kaminari wailed, producing crocodile tears. So unmanly. We have to get them back, Kirishima added. But Ida is watching us to make sure we don't leave, Shiro said. So we need you to distract him. Sato told me. He won't suspect you. Maybe you guys should listen to him. He's only looking out for you all. I tried to persuade them. Midoriya, do it for your bros, Kaminari yelled, flailing his arms, almost hitting Shiro. We can't look like punks to Class 1B. We have to prove how manly we are, Kirishima said, fist pumped in the air. Come on, dude, just this once, Sato said, slinging an arm over my shoulders. Do it for us. Guys, we shouldn't do this. All four of them looked at one another before grabbing me. Hey, let go, guys. This is not funny. I was carried downstairs. They dropped me on my feet and pushed me into Ida's eyesight before the four of them ran away. Ida walked over to me, looking at me strangely. Are you okay, Midoriya? Yeah, I said, my eyes focused on everything but him. I saw the guys sneaking with toilet paper in their hands towards the door as Ida's back was to them. Sato gave me a thumbs up. Hey, Ida, what do you plan to create for the art project due by the end of the month? I'm glad you asked, Midoriya, Ida said as he adjusted his glasses. He sounded excited. You know the March of Progress, or the Road to Homo sapiens as it is officially called. I nodded. I wanted to recreate that, but instead of primates, I wanted to use the generations of my family as pro-heroes to represent the change of society during acceptance of quirks and pro-heroes. I would start off with Quicksilver, one of the first vigilantes during the pre-hero age. He was the first one in my family to have a quirk. He seemed so proud of this idea, but then he hunched over, suddenly sad. But alas, I feel as though that is out of my ability scope. Ida, if you think you can't do it now, try something simpler, and then attempt this idea later when you feel like you are ready, I advised. But definitely don't quit on it. I think it's a great idea. Hey, you class 1 of fuckers, someone shouted from outside. Ida and I both looked out the window to see the bros being chased by a group of male 1B students led by Tetsu. Hooligans, Ida yelled as he ran outside to confront our classmates. I shrugged at this nonsense and headed towards the kitchen. They got caught, and I didn't want to be involved. I'm telling you, Ochaku, you've been overdoing it. That was a Shido. Sounds like they were in the hallway. I don't know why I found a need to hide, but hid I did. You think so? Questioned Uraraka. Yes, they had just passed by me. Give him some space. I heard Uraraka agree to his advice. I wonder who they were talking about. Didn't really matter. It was time to grab a snack. I got in the kitchen to be met with a glaring real Kachin. Hi. The fuck you want? He seemed to be 10% angrier than usual. I was getting a pomegranate, I told him, walking warily past him. You have fun on your little date yesterday? My heart stopped. What are you talking about K. Kachin? His glare got stronger. The old hag saw you at the fucking store holding hands with some random bitch. I felt angry. Why was I so angry? Don't call her that, I growled. His eyebrows rose in exchange. He smirked. Guess she's important to you. I wonder how Uraraka would think of that. I got right beside him, slamming my hand on the table in frustration. You can't. No one can know about this. He smirked even more. So I'm the first to know. No, Gyro and Sato know I'm dating someone. Take that, his smugness gone. Why did I feel satisfaction from that? But they don't know who. I nodded. He huffed. You're lucky the old hag decided to leave you alone, because she knows how fucking flighty you are, Deku. I'm definitely going to have to get Auntie something special for her birthday. I pulled out my phone, ignoring Kachin's demand for attention, texting Himiko and letting her know about this new information. Auntie saw us. I know. She added a winking face emoji afterwards. You texting your mail-order bride? I frowned at Kachin. What? Only idiots or weirdos like you. I rolled my eyes at him, getting him to snarl. Feels good. Just keep quiet, Kachin. No, I looked at him. You want me to shut my mouth, then you have to pay. You know what I want. Really, Kachin, he nodded, smugness back on his face. That's really low of you. Hey, motherfucker, you cheated to win those. I did not. You had outside help. That fucker with his wind quirk allowed you to win. Exactly. Cheating. I didn't ask for it. You still didn't win it on your own. I glared at him. I was angry. I was actually angry at Kachin. Fine, I stormed out of the kitchen, knocking over Kaminari as I went to my room. I'll apologize one of these days. Bedroom. I was curled up on my bed, staring at the empty spot my All Might knockout gloves used to be. I could feel the anger and frustration bubbling in my chest. I wanted it to go away because it felt unheroic to be mad about the loss of this. But I wanted it to stay. The heat it provided was better than the cold feeling of sadness and despair I was so used to. Stupid Kachin and his ego. Always has to be the best. Always got to have the best stuff. My phone beeped. I ignored it. That was like the third time since I got back to my room after handing Kachin my prized possessions. The messages were probably from Himiko. I didn't feel like speaking to her. She was the cause of this anyway. As long as she didn't call me, I could say I fell asleep. Looks like I jinxed myself. I picked up the phone. Hello? Baby, why didn't you respond to my texts? She asked in a whiny tone. I hadn't checked my phone. Why not? It was too far across the room. Izu-kun, are you okay? She sounded sincere. No. Did something happen? Did she really care? I guess I should tell her. She wanted to know when other people found out. Himiko, be honest. Did you let Auntie see us? I did. My anger grew. Why? My tone was unnaturally cold. You knew it was dangerous. Now Kachin knows too. And I had to give up one of my All Might collectibles so he would keep his mouth shut. Do you know how rare the All Might knockout gloves are? They only made 100 pairs of them, and I had to win them at some festival during a ball throwing competition before I even had my quirk. Do you know how hard that was when I was competing against Kachin? He might have just gotten his quirk, but he had the advantage. I was lucky some hero with a wind quirk was in the area, and some of his quirk affected my throw while he was fighting a villain. I'm sorry, Izu-kun. Her voice was small, and she sounded afraid. My anger was going away quickly as I took rapid breaths. I could also hear her sniffling in the background. I flopped my back onto the bed. I am sorry for yelling, Himiko-chan. I'm just so frustrated and angry. Angry at Kachin for being Kachin. You mean a dick? Yeah, a dick. Why did it feel so good to call him that? It's okay to be angry, Izu-kun, she said. Haven't you heard of righteous anger? You can use it to feed your drive to become a better hero. Just don't let it cloud your judgment. I wasn't going to really think on that. I wasn't in the right mindset. I still shouldn't have yelled. It's okay, Izu-kun. I'll make it you two up tomorrow, she said in a sultry tone that sent shivers down my spine. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like more like this, hit the like button, and goodbye.